welcome back to another episode of StichMethod. Today we're going to be talking about how to improvise confidently with a blues guitar solo with no scale work whatsoever. There's a hidden message in this lesson about knowing your intervals and how to find them and how to kind of like think about guitar in different ways at different times when you're playing the blues. And so today we're going to be studying with the B blues, and the reason I chose a B blues is it's really easy to see up on the guitar neck as I play, but you can do this anywhere. All right, so let's get started. So you probably saw the intro solo, and what this is about learning how to navigate with certain tones around one chord shape. The chord shape we're going to do today is this chord shape. It is a seventh chord, and this is actually a B7, so I want everyone to play this, okay? First finger is going to bar the D string, G string, and B string along the 4th fret, and your middle finger or ring finger, whichever is comfortable, is going to play the 5th fret of the high E string. This is a B7 chord. I have some distortion on, but this is it right here. And so in a B blues, you're going to play over a B7, an F sharp 7, sorry, an E7 is the 4, which is here, and an F sharp 7, which is the 5 here. Now we'll get to this stuff later, but we're actually going to go right to this chord, the B7, and I'll show you why. And so the first thing you want to know about this chord is its intervals, like what makes up this chord. So we're going to go from thickest to thinnest. This note in the D string is actually the 5th interval. That's a 5. On the G string you have the root, the 1. On the B string you have the major 3rd. And on this high E string right here you have the flat 7. When you put a 1, a 3, a 5, and a flat 7 together, you get a 7th chord, and this is the shape right here. Now what's more important to know is that when a B blues is happening, when a B7 chord is being played, you want to try and use some B7 chord tones. I talk about this all throughout my channel. If you're new to StichMethod, check out my Blues Primer playlist. Tons of great information there. And now, let's get back to the lesson. The idea is this, can we use just these notes to create a really good solo? Let me try and use just these notes, and we'll see if we can find something that works. It's going to be hard, because we don't have a lot to choose from. Let's see. Now, very limiting, can't do much with it, but you can hear that it works. And this is going to work, by the way, over the 4 chord, it'll work over the 5 chord. We'll talk about those other fancy chords in a second. But let me show you how you want to look at this chord from now on. When you look at these intervals, you can find other intervals in that chord around the chord. Well, what do I mean by that? Let's take a look at this guy here, the flat 7. Well, I preach a lot in my workshops and online about knowing your intervals and how far away they are from other intervals. This flat 7 right here is actually 2 frets away from a root note here. So wherever you can find the flat 7, you can bring in a root note 2 frets higher. Wherever that is, whatever chord you're playing, if it has a flat 7 in it, you can find the root note by coming up 2 frets. And lo and behold, that 7th fret of the E string is a B. Now let's take a look at this guy here. This is your major 3rd. I know that if I bring this note up 3 frets, 1, 2, 3, to the 7th fret, that becomes a 5. Now you might not know this stuff, but you want to take note. The intervals in between, 3, 4, flat 5, 5. And so now I'm not using a scale. What I'm using is the chord to navigate to other chord tones. Remember, 1s, 3s, 5s, and flat 7s. Okay? And so I found a flat 7 here. I can find a 1 2 frets above it. I have a 3 here. Okay, well I can go up 3 frets to that 5. Not a hard stretch. Okay? Here's that 1. Well, check this out. If there was a 1 here, I can go 2 frets back. Let's see if I can get this on camera. Well, this way. To a flat 7. Interesting stuff, just by knowing your intervals. Again, I'm going to be very highly repetitious. The flat 7, 2 frets up to a 1. All right? The major 3rd, you can go 3 frets up to the 5. This is how music works. Okay, you're finding intervals. The root note, you can go down 2 frets to the flat 7. Here's a 5 here. This is the first note of the chord, or the lowest note. 3 frets up is a flat 7. So now, just from this chord, no scales involved, I knew the intervals I was playing, 5, 1, 3, flat 7, and now I want to try and find those other intervals related to it. So now let's see if I can play another solo, and I can put in with confidence, because I know they're all going to work. These are all just chord tones. That's all they are. But now we're getting to them in a different way, and this is where the confidence comes in. Feel free to try and play these notes differently. Bend, slide, hammer, because you know they're going to work. This is going to help develop your technique. So let's see if we can get a better solo now over this blues bag track. Much better. Now think about this. Those are the same exact chord tones, the same exact ones. It's incredible. And so I was using 1, 3s, and 5s and flat 7s, and I was trying to find them in relationship to each other. Now, I kind of call this like the star effect. I don't know why, but it's just you find a chord and you can kind of like create these beams of light that go in certain directions from the main chord to find other notes in the chord. So hopefully this is making sense. If it's not making sense, rewind it and watch it. Now, we're going to show you something really cool. For the 4 chord, I can take right up to this 9th fret. This is an E7 now. Same exact chord, just on the 9th fret, and the intervals are exactly the same. When the 4 chord comes now, we're on the 4 chord. In this case, it's going to be an E7. And so I have an E7 here. And I can use the same exact tricks. Well, this is my flat 7. There's my 1. This is my 5. Sorry, this is my 3, excuse me. Right here. This is my 5. This is my 1. That's my flat 7. This is my 5. And that's a flat 7. And so now when we go to the 4 chord, you can use the same exact pattern, same exact everything, and try to discover what works for you. And I'm going to show you when you go to the 5, the same thing 2 frets up. Now in case you want to practice this in a B blues, it's going to be the 4th fret here for the 1 chord, the 9th fret for the 4 chord, and the 11th fret for the 5 chord. And in case you're having any troubles, I want to let you know that if you have a 1 chord, 5 frets up is always your 4 chord. I got to take a second. I forgot to thank my student Jeff, who helped inspire this lesson. Jeff, thank you so much. I hope you're working on this. And so now, watch what happens when I play the 1, 4, and 5, and I think of the chord tones and extending this quote-unquote star system. Here we go. Flub up there, but I don't care. And so there we're moving 1 chord shape, and we're kind of extending out to find other chord tones using our interval knowledge, our music theory knowledge, our guitar fret knowledge, and we're chasing the 1s, 4s, and 5s. When the 1 chord was playing, I was on the B7. When the 4 chord was playing, I was on the E7, and when the 5 chord was playing, I was on the F sharp 7. Now we can leave it at that. We can totally leave it at that, but let's get further. Now, I can sit and solo over an entire blues in just my first 7th chord, the 1 chord, the B7, this guy here. If you're playing a blues and you like this method, you can try to do everything here. Well, how would you do that? Okay. Now, we know a 12-bar blues is a series of 1s, 4s, and 5s. Again, watch my blues primer playlist if you have no idea what I'm talking about. And here I have a 1, and just to show you, I have a 5 here. We also found a 5, 3 frets up from my major 3rd, right there. So I have a 1 here, a 5 here, and a 5 here. I don't have a 4. Now, we can cheat or we can manipulate. It's up to you, all right? This note here is the major 3rd. There's that chord, 5, 1, 3, flat 7. This 3rd here, if you want, you can slide it right into a 4. It's a half step away. Now, when we do that, I start to think, man, it's starting to feel a little like scale work. But you can also take this major 3rd and bend it up to a 4. To me, that's manipulating a chord tone, and I like that better. So I can see where my 1s are from the previous exercise. I can see where my 5s are, all related to this chord. And I can also get to a 4 by taking the major third and bending up to a 4. So let's see what that sounds like if I stay right here and I chase those chord tones. And so we're going to start with the 1. Here's the 4, watch. Same notes. 5, 4, 1. Okay. So now you can see I can stay put or I can move. I'm going to show you one more trick about staying put, and then we'll put it all together. Hopefully you're enjoying this. All right, so again, the art form is knowing your chord intervals and trying to find other intervals spread out linearly on the strings from where you are. There's one note that's quintessential to the blues, in my opinion. It is the minor third. The minor third is what gives the blues its sound. It's the grit of it. I explained in my blues trick number 1 video. The blues really is the sound of minor stuff happening over major chords. And that minor third rubbing against the major chord really creates the sound of the blues, as I call it the A1 steak sauce. And so there's one cheat that we can use here, which is if we know that this note here is the major third, well then this note behind it is the minor third. This is the one move I will allow outside of a chord tone manipulation. And now just being able to go like 1, 3, but now flat 3 to 3 is going to dress up your blues so much. So I'm going to stay put. I'm going to hit the 1s and the 1s, the 4, take that major third, bend it to the 4. I'm also going to hit that 5, but I'm also going to throw in some of that minor third, major third mix that I like so much. Here we go. Really. There, I think it's gonna be a longer video. So there, I was using my chord tones, hitting 1s on 1s, taking the major third, bending it up to the 4, hitting the 5, and bringing my minor third. This is the last thing I'm gonna show you. If you have a 1 here, again, this is all coming from the chord. I've not talked once about a scale. Not once about a scale. We are navigating from chords. If I have a 1 here, 3 frets up from here, 7th fret, that's my minor third. Just this note here. So if you don't feel like always putting in a minor third to major third mix, you can think about your pinky bringing the minor third. Again, I don't think this is a cheat so much because I'm navigating from the chord. So now you can sit and stay still. You can move your chord with you and play your 9th fret for your E, your 11th fret for your F sharp, and you can come down. You can stay put. You can mix and match. But here's the kicker. You always need to play with confidence because no matter what you do, it's always going to sound good. And that is such a comfort when improvising. Don't screw up like I do in my videos. I mean, you can, but it happens. But the idea is playing with confidence, putting a little bit of oomph into your playing, knowing that it's all going to work is going to be phenomenal. And so now I'm going to take one final solo, and I'm going to either stay put or move, and feel free to manipulate whatever you want and do test runs and this style can be used intermittently within a regular blues, or you can do it for a full blues, whatever you like. But the idea is you should find joy from learning to navigate several different ways, this being one of them. Here we go. So I had fun playing that. Sorry about that. A kid came in and I was like, I'm recording. So anyway, Patreon page, a lot of practice stuff there. Check it out. Thank you so much for being here. Share and subscribe. Check out the Blues Primer playlist in case you're new to this channel. It will change your life. I guarantee it. Rock and roll. Thanks again. Bye-bye.